So season 1 had 6 storylines. The first one I did was Emma's catfishing story from episode 1 because, that was a big bang when you start off a series is with a catfishing story before catfishing got into the lexicon. Jimmy and Sean's fight that got Emma caught in the crossfire because that started in episode 4 with Jimmy taking Spinner's Ritalin to try to defeat Sean on the basketball court. And then when they actually fight, Emma gets bumped by Sean, and that ends their relationship. Emma falling in love with Sean in the first place. I think that was the 3rd episode of the show when Emma met Sean, who was transferring to Toronto. Toby and Ashley's issues with being step siblings because, let's face it, they were supposed to be the stars of the show, but they didn't do so well. Terry getting drunk before a dance. I think Paige put up to it. Remember to be right. And Ashley's ecstasy taken from the season finale, Jagged Little Pill. So as you can see, Ashley's ecstasy thing won with 66 votes. Emma falling in love with Sean and Emma's catfishing story actually were too close to call. But because it's one vote, I'm going to make a move and put the Emma's catfishing story from episode 1 in the number 2 slot. Emma falling in love with Sean may get onto a list somehow, but I'll have to figure that out for myself. So in season 2, I said, 6 hotlines. Number 1 was Emma dealing with Spike dating her teacher, Mr. Simpson. 2 was Manny and Craig's relationship, because this was the first time Manny and Craig were to be together. 3rd is Craig's issues with his father, the season premiere and finale, bookmarking it. Bookending, pardon. Emma trying to fix things before Spike and Snake's wedding. Emma tangling with Raj and Fight for Your Right, and Toby's eating disorder. I was actually shocked at how, the voting went for that. So, Craig's father, well, that was easy. Man, 149 out of 199 votes. 2nd place is Manny and Craig's relationship. So Manny and Craig would be number 2. No honorable mentions for 3rd place because none of them got high enough. Emma and Spike had 12 out of 199. That's about 6%. So yeah, so I'm going to make no honorable mentions in season 2. So there will be a 3rd storyline to make honorable mentions. So on to season 3. And 262 votes came in. The 6 options were the Craig, Manny, Ashley love triangle. So got that. 2nd one was Emma and Manny clashing over Manny's sexualization. Basically, they fight tooth and nail. Season 3, the Breakfast Club episode. With Raj putting everyone in solitary detention. Emma finding about Shane before welcoming a new sibling in the world. Terry and Rick's drama. When we're introduced to Rick being Terry's secret admirer season 3, but Rick is not who he seems to be and basically a little possessive. And also Marco's coming out storyline was huge. So as you can see, 1st place went to the love triangle with 75. I was actually shocked. I thought season 3 had better. 2nd place with 51 is Marco's coming out of the closet. And 3rd place with 41 is Emma and Manny. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I actually thought that Rick and Terry was going to be top 2. Well, mostly because Terry and Rick would be season 4. So Emma and Manny will get an honorable mention. Maybe I'll get into the top 50. I'll figure something out. I always do. So for season 4, I got 200 votes. And there's 6 of them. The 6 I put for season 4 was Paige's rape trial conclusion. I know I could have put it in the season 2 thing as well, but I figured that with the conclusion and all that, it was more season 4 because season 2 I actually had thought of ideas, and season 4 didn't really have too many storylines other than the one at the bottom. Spinner cheating on Paige with Manny, I thought that was a decent storyline because, Paige has to work to pay for Spinner's card, and Spinner's basically cheating on Paige with Manny. Paige and Mr. O, when Paige actually has a relationship with Mr. O, her Olander, her student teacher, and it was shocking. Kevin Smith shooting a movie at Degrassi, fighting for Caitlin. Craig's bipolar issues because in Bark at the Moon we find out that Craig's bipolar. And also Rick's return and Time Stands Still. Well, it was obvious who was going to win. Time Stands Still. So it easily won with more than half with about, let me see if I did the math right, 56%. Craig's bipolar issues took second, so it will get in somehow. And then third place is Paige's rape thing. Well, it'll be season 2/4. The other three only have 13 votes combined. I'm actually shocked Paige and Mr. O in this storyline actually ended up behind Kevin Smith. I was shocked. Very shocked. And now you got season 5 storyline. The 6 storylines were JT and Liberty's pregnancy angle. That, Liberty gets pregnant. JT tries to do all he can to help Liberty out, and it seemed that Liberty was taking control of the pregnancy thing by not telling her parents. Something seemed fishy. Spinner's redemption arc, because when Spinner got expelled in season 4 for his role in Time Stands Still, he wanted to make sure he got everyone on his side. Palix, that being Paige and Alex, that started something in season 5. Manny being kicked out of her house in the first episode for being an actress and all that. Emma's eating disorder, basically starting when Snake cheats on Spike with Hatzalakos, and when Snake gone, Emma feels like she has to control the situation because she's getting a lot of things to do. And also Emma turning boy crazy and dating Peter to her chagrin. So Palix, I never considered this being a big storyline, but what do I know? I know nothing. Everyone will say, you know nothing, Jon Snow, or as you know nothing, Jeff Diamond. Spinner's redemption arc takes second with 57 votes, and then the pregnancy. And then the JT Manny Liberty pregnancy took third place. Emma's eating disorder did not make a good enough splash. 25 out of 216, so that's 10% to 250. So I say it would be okay, but I might just cut Emma's eating disorder out in a sense. So it doesn't even come close to being an honorable mention. All right, in season 6 happened. I actually only found 5 good storylines. Now, I'll give you a fair warning that some of the seasons after season 6, I have the others specifying comment section because, I can't think of it off the top of my head. And that's actually close to the seasons I barely saw because I was doing other stuff. So you got JT stabbing, JT dying and all that. And it was Ryan Cooley's fault in a sense because he wanted his character to die in a gory thing. After all, he was going to college. Ryan was. Sean coming back in Emma's life and upsetting the balance with Emma and Peter was a storyline. Paige's anxiety attacks and basically coming back to Toronto with her tail between her legs. Sean leaving Emma high and dry for the army. I could also say Emma trying to get back at Snake with a presentation. Peter rebounding with Darcy after losing Emma and almost getting Darcy hurt by a stalker, and then others specify. So JT stabbing when Sean comes back in Emma's life and upsets Peter, got 64 votes. Paige's anxiety attacks got roughly, I don't know if I should make that third place and all that. Paige's anxiety attacks. I'm going to say no. With Palix, I gave Paige a good one. So I'm going to make it no honorable mention in season 6. I'll leave that out of the wishful thinking. All right, so season 7. Just take a look. Putting it closed. Darcy. All right, so The first one was Lakehurst merging with Degrassi. And I thought that, well, that was when their school apparently burned down. We don't know what happened. I mean, who burned it down or what happened to make it burn down. But Lakehurst had to merge with Degrassi, and it was kind of weird to see the two classes together. But in a sense, I guess if they wanted to keep Degrassi moving along, they needed new characters. Second on the list was Emma's Purple Dragon storyline. Well, not second in the poll, but second, the Purple Dragon storyline that Emma becomes a Purple Dragon girl so that people won't find her bland and boring and all that. What is with her trying to change her outlook on things? Of course, she realizes that she has to lose weight with the Purple Dragon stuff, and it's like, what the heck? I can't go down this slope again. Snape's struggling with Darcy's accusation and aftermath. That kind of is the same with Darcy's downfall with being raped. Although, but Snape's aftermath, Snape not being able to go to school, he gets cleared of charges, and then he can't come back because Lakehurst just hates him. Then Darcy's downfall with being raped and blaming Snake. Yeah, so Darcy got rope drugged at a party, and she is saving herself for marriage, and she goes on a downfall, mostly because of the pressures her parents put on her for Christian activities. All that. She does get things going with Peter. Season 7 finale, the finale that there's a prom, and Toby lets it known that Liberty was cheating on, no, Damien was cheating on Emma with Liberty and was proud of it. And Emma realizes that she can't be petty because of what happened 3 years ago with Chris. So he said that basically Damien deserves to burn for what he did to her. It's not Liberty's fault. And Spinner's cancer scare was the sixth storyline because, testicular cancer. And Spinner had saved Toby from Lakehurst people. So Darcy obviously won. Lakehurst merging with Degrassi actually shockingly took second, I'll be honest with you. So that's second place. So that automatically gets into at least a top 40 list or something like that. And Spinner's Cancer, I will give it third place. I think I might put that in for future time. Do it. All right, so season 8 happened, and six storylines. The first one was the debut of the gifted class in season 8. Casey, a boy who lives in a halfway house because of his trouble, his parents basically both being in jail and all that. Ollie, who is Sav's younger sister, very bright and all that. Claire, who was Darcy's younger sister and was in some episodes in seasons 5 and 6. And Connor, who would later realize had problems. And speaking of which, Connor's diagnosis with Asperger's syndrome and the Shep's Award came into play, and so yeah, Jane's problems. No, Connor's diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, as I have Asperger's syndrome myself. And that was when the Shep was winning an award for Principal of the Year. I don't know how the hell he won for Principal of the Year. Like, it was like early in the school year for one thing. But I figured that Shep might have won the award because it was supposed to go to Hatzlackles, but with her gone to Regina, leaving Peter emancipated. I guess I didn't say that in the season finale. That basically Shep would get it. Shep is shown to be an uncaring person. He somehow keeps his job. He goes to sensitivity class and doesn't really do much. And Jane's dad and all that. Jade is upset about her dad coming back in her life and realizes that her dad would sexually molest her. And the problem is that Jane hates Lucas because Lucas seems to be an uncaring dad. But after he realizes how Jane's dad treated Jane, he's worried about the fact that Jane's dad will probably prey on Isabella. So Lucas decides to cut his father out of his life. I know he wanted his father out of his life because he had issues. But he basically said that he felt terrible for what he did, not realizing Jane needed help. But Jane says that we were kids, and besides, you're here now. And the worst part is Lucas got buried and then and left the show. Emma trying to keep Manny and Liberty close to her. This was the season 8 preview when Emma finds out that Manny and Liberty are together in one floor and she's in the other one. She decides to try to get the university to allow all three of them to be together, and then they have with Kelly. So Emma has problems. She wants to keep friends. She doesn't want to be bland and vanilla. Sav and Anya deal with Sav's parents basically the first time around when Anya says that I'll do whatever it takes. I'll read the Quran and I'll do whatever it takes to be with Sav. And they're not really approved. Sav does see Anya without his parents' consent, but he backtracks in a sense. And then Jane's issues with being on the football team. It wasn't the molestation, it was the fact that she was on the football team and people hated her for it, especially Derek. So by a wide margin, more than 50%, Jane's dad storyline was number one. Jane being on the football team in the debut of the gifted class was actually close behind, but Jane's issues being on the football team are automatically in the video. The gifted group debut probably will be somehow. So we got to season 9, and there were a lot of problems with season 9. And I could only find 4 appropriate storylines because others specify in comments, but so pretty much, yeah. Casey leaving Claire for Jenna. It was like Jenna was introduced in season 9, and basically both Casey and Jenna says, I know what I like. And Claire feels upset because she risked everything to be with Casey, with a good girl. Kind of like what Emma and Sean were in season 1. I think they were just recycled Emma for Claire. Ollie shaming Holly J through social media, and Holly J basically acting weird, and her parents causing a fuss, and Holly J basically wanting Anya to get rid of Allie, realizing that Anya would be a follower. Emma's downfall and dropping out of college. That was Holiday Road when Kelly decides to go back to the Yukon to work for his dad instead of helping Emma with a university project about recycling bicycles. And Emma makes it known to Spike and Snake that she's decided to chase friends instead of grades, which is weird. And on the other part was Emma marrying Spitter. So Spamla happened, and then others specifying comments got 7 votes. I was actually shocked that Allie actually won that one. It was actually close between the 4 storylines. Emma marrying, so Spamla beat Emma's downfall by 1 vote. Of course, one of the votes was mine, but yeah, so Spamla gets into the thing, and then Emma's downfall. That could be huge. All right, so you see there were 6 storylines in season 10. So here we go. The first one was Holly J trying to manipulate Sav with Anya. And basically, in the student elections, Holly J wanted to win at all costs and decided to have Anya try to ruin Sav's reputation by saying that she's pregnant with Sav's kid. But Anya decides to turn it around on Holly J with Sav's help and basically decides to say that we lost the baby and got the sympathy, and Holly J was pissed, obviously. However, Sav would not stay with Anya much longer in season 10. Riley hazing Drew because Drew got hazed trying to be the quarterback and Riley's the quarterback. And basically, by Drew being hazed, it got the ire of a school board member. And then, of course, Riley coming out of the closet kind of at the same time as he was hazing Drew. Drew wasn't upset with Riley being gay. It was just that Drew was upset that Riley was the quarterback. Vegas night in the aftermath, and then Connor with Love Queen, the online thing. Vegas night was when Audra Torres, Drew's mom, basically got mad at Snake for mishandling the hazing thing and basically said that one more incident and we'll go forward with Degrassi, but you won't. And then Vegas night was a disaster. Sav and Holly J actually ruined themselves. I know the whole Fitz and Claire situation, but they could have controlled it better. Thankfully, Snake kept his job, but at the cost of the students getting no extracurriculars. They have to wear uniforms and basically a lot of cameras and all that stuff. Connor would love Queen Connor having an online crush, and then Allie running away from her family because they wouldn't listen to her. In a sense, that storyline was when, after Vegas night, that Allie went to a private school because of her reputation, and then she got caught smoking, but one of the girls framed her, and basically Allie's parents listened to the girl's parents and all that, and not to Allie. So she runs away with and finds Johnny DeMarco, who said that you can't run away from your problems because Johnny was with Drake Lampley when JT got stabbed. So yeah. So Vegas night, obviously number one. Ollie runs away from her family, just beat out Riley's coming out of the closet. So yeah, that's all right. So season 11, I also didn't do much. Now I botched a few. Well, I botched season 3 being that Allie's cutting and all that. But also in Degrassi scenes, when I talked about season 10, I completely gaffed with Adam coming out. So being a trans character, one of the first in Canadian history, if not the first. So I put Adam as the first trans character on Canadian TV in it because obviously I fucked everything up. The other stories was Connor's freaked out because of the girl's underwear situation that he wanted to make an app and then he was just stealing girls' underwear and then he was sent to some school by Simpson. Drew and Bianca, with Vince coming in the picture, Drew and Bianca were having a terrible romance, basically a forbidden romance. And then when a guy named Anson wanted to rape Bianca, Drew tries to protect Bianca. He gets overwhelmed, but Anson gets killed by a rock by Bianca. She leaves her bracelet. Vince knows who it is, and basically Vince forces Bianca to be his bitch in exchange for Drew and his friends being safe. Unfortunately, Drew said, enough is enough, I've got to go talk to Vince. And then Vince basically decides that Drew had the gall to do something stupid, so he decides to take a gun and shoot at him. I wonder if that was on purpose. Um, hmm. So, yeah. And then Adam being first transcriptor, and Claire's drama with Eli and Jake. So Claire's drama was there. And then I put other specifying comments. So Adam won. Drew and Bianca would definitely have gone in. So they're in. And I'm not going to really do Claire's drama with Eli and Jake. Now, the reason why this is with Jake is because, Jake was her boyfriend. But then, unfortunately, because Claire's mom married Jake's dad, they were step siblings. And basically, they couldn't be boyfriend and girlfriend. But Claire wanted to keep it going for some reason. Kind of dumb, don't you think? And then you get to season 12. This is where I really struggled. Cam's suicide storyline obviously won, as you can see here. And others being Sid being Joseph, Cam being with Maya. I guess in a sense that Sid being Joseph, Cam kind of fit into the storyline, in a sense. So because of the low voting on that one, I can't make it my number 2. So I had to go to my comments to find out what the number 2 is, because top 2 per season, guaranteed. And the Claire and Ash says Drew and Bianca's engagement storyline and Claire and Asher's storyline. But I think Claire and Asher, I kind of ruined Claire not being in the top 3 because of her thing with Jake and Eli. So I decided to give Claire a bit of a break and put that as the backup for season 12. So, yeah, that's how I did it. So for season 13, I came up with 5, and then I needed one for other specifying comments. Of course, a lot of the later seasons is ones I can't find 6 storylines for, mostly because I didn't really follow the season. So the first one was Adam's death. So Adam died in season 13, just a few episodes after Cam's suicide in season 12. We just had to have Adam die in season 13. It was just pathetic. And with the way Adam died by texting and driving and basically having problems with Imogen or Becky, who he should pick. Of course, later we would find out that Imogen was gay for Jack, and it was weird that I guess Adam. I wonder if Adam knew Imogen liked girls, so that was kind of strange. But yeah, Adam was towards Becky, even though that Becky's parents were conservative Christians who were basically assholes in a sense. Um, so that was unnecessary. Adam's death and all that. I know the actress didn't run on the show. Second one was Claire's cancer. That Claire got a lot thrown at her in her lifetime in Degrassi, but now you got cancer thrown into there. So she had to go through cancer, the treatments, and she beat it. Zoe slut-shaming Maya getting away with it. So, yeah. Yeah, it's like, Maya was upset with Zoe trying to steal Miles from her. And basically, Zoe puts Maya's face on social media accounts, and basically nothing comes of it. And Maya's upset. Maya writes a song about it, gets in trouble with Simpson, who basically throws a book at her. And, Maya wanted to try to press charges against Zoe. But Maya's mom said that you have to be the bigger person. And Maya's like, but she did this to me. I've got to do something about it. And then Zoe basically gets away with it. And everyone's shocked. But part of this for me is that Zoe basically used her being an actress, and getting away with it. Her popularity, and Simpson probably was worried about repercussions. What a dick. Maya turning mature, trying to avoid another Cam incident. This is not the Maya and Miles thing. That was season 14. So his rape trial was there, and everyone agrees it was the best at 71 votes out of 130. Adam's death was second. Maya turning mature, I'm going to probably say no, it's not really a good storyline. So it's going to be, so there's no honorable mentions. But the worst part is that's the 5th season that won't have a third storyline to be in. Like, the top 2 are in, so it will probably have to be a top 40. So it'll be a top 40. Then I'll have to kind of make cut downs to see who gets into the top 40 and who will probably get an honorable mention in the video. So yeah, that's not good. So we're on to season 14, 139 votes. It was actually tight for the top 3. First and third place with, top 4, because 2 of those 6 storylines didn't get much votes. While Degrassi Nudes, that's the one I voted for. I know it was a terrible storyline and it didn't pay off as much, but it was an interesting story about power and affection and double crossing from both sides of the debate. Maya being overprotective of Miles. Well, Maya had troubles. In season 14, she had visions of Miles doing the stuff that Cam did, and Maya was still feeling guilty over Cam's name. She never said his name, and I wish she did, because then people who had basically given her, who were angry for her for protecting Miles, such as her mom and that police officer, would have understood, and maybe Maya would have got more culpability, more happiness, but got a little shit on. Claire's pregnancy, Claire getting pregnant, even though that she had cancer. I don't know much about the fact that if you have cancer, you can get pregnant and all that. But anyway, Jack and Imogen being together, I couldn't find a 6 storyline. I could have just said, well, what's the comments? But anyway, Pill's policies, because the no affection one, because when Pill came in after Simpson got booted, I mean, it was in the wake of Degrassi News. Like, I mean, the cell phones, okay, the backpack's okay, but the cameras seem to be fine, but she captured audio just trying to get herself a morality boost. And the no affection policy that basically led to the final episode, finally, the supposed finale, as I put it, because rumors were circulating that season 14 was going to be the end of Degrassi Once and For All. And the supposed finale was when Drew got in trouble for making a prom poster with Becky on school grounds, and Pill says he can't go to prom. Dallas screws up booking a boat, and Drew is told by his mom to basically save the school. So that's what he did, and then basically Pill throws the book at Drew, saying that I have to make an example out of you for the students next year. And, Pill screwed herself over because I wonder if she knew that Drew's mom was part of the school board trustees and basically would tell her higher ups about Pill's problems. And basically, even if Simpson was not clear to come back in season 15, that Pill would probably have been kicked out of the school principal because of her overprotectiveness. So anyway, Claire's pregnancy won, with Degrassi Newt second, but it was a tight race between Maya's overprotection and the supposed finale finally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make both the one that's 23 and 24 as honorable mentions to get into the top 50. The possibility of a top 50 can happen because that wipes out one of the seasons that only have two storylines. I think I'll probably make sure that a few seasons get a fourth storyline in. Maybe Ellie's cutting from season 3. Sure. All right, so then you got the best season 15 storyline, aka Next Class season 1. I couldn't figure out many season 1 storylines, and nobody gave me another one, so it was down to 3. Number 1 was Hunter's issues with the feminist club to do with the gaming club. Yeah, the mental health stuff of Hunter after the gaming club was harassed by Maya and her feminists for saying that the video game characters were basically shooting at females. And Hunter was upset that the gaming club was ruined because of the feminist club and decided to go after the head of the club, Maya, with a gun. Thankfully, Miles steps in and stops Hunter, and even Snake told Hunter about the fact that bringing a gun to school wasn't great, as the fact that, he had to deal with Rick bringing the gun to school in season 4 and all that. So Hunter was put in a mental health institute. And a lot of people were upset why Hunter wasn't expelled for having the gun in school. Because, I mean, after all, he brought a gun to the school. But me thinks that it's because of dear old dad being the mayor and Simpson trying not to boss him. Lil Lola's female masturbation storyline took second with 36. Like, I still don't like that comment. Now, I'm not about, it's not me being me being anti-female masturbation, which is not the case. It's basically the fact that does a show like Degrassi have to tackle this female masturbation storyline or not? It's just puzzling, more so than not. So that's the truth. All right. All right, so on to season 16/season 2, Next Class. I can only think of 3. And the bus crash obviously won with 66 votes. I mean, honestly. Second was Frankie's inadvertent racist poster with 22, because that led to the whole racist storyline that wasn't really done well. It just basically made Frankie into white privilege. And methinks that some people probably would attack Frankie because she's a Hollingsworth, and knowing how probably her dad is as mayor. It may have just been anger towards the mayor, which turned into anger towards Frankie. And of course, Tiny be suspended for protecting Shane Lola. I should have said / Throwback Thursday. But I think people got it. So what I'll probably do is make Throwback Thursday maybe get into the top 50. Because, I mean, after all, it brought back some people from the old Degrassi Next Gen days, like Liberty, Emma, Paige, Spitter, Marco, Mo, for some reason. There were a few others. Maybe Holly J was in it. I can't remember. But yeah, I think I'm going to make that one of the honorable mentions, because honestly, it's got to happen. All right, so we're on to the best season 17 slash next class season 3 storyline, and obviously there was a number one, as you can see on the numbers. So, yeah, it's amazing and all that. Maya's year-long depression after the bus crash. She thought that she was the cause of people getting hurt. Even Tristan. I mean, Miles had Maya had a reason to hate Tristan because Tristan was such a dick towards her in season 13 and 14. But Maya just reminded her of Cam's death and all that, and she couldn't shake it. And then she decides to off herself at the end of the season by basically taking some pills, sitting on the bus, listening to music, falling asleep, hoping that she will join Cam wherever he is. Probably not, but she wakes up and still she is dead. It thinks that she's doing something wrong, so she goes to the roof to kill herself. Thankfully, though, you know, Esme and Sig, because of the horniness, was on the roof, and they find Maya passed out because before Maya went to jump off the roof, the pills kicked in. Thankfully, Esme saves Maya's life, and then of course Tristan at the end has to make that comment that he loves pizza and wonder if that was on purpose to fuck over Maya. I doubt it. I said it's coma brain. Well, Esme's love for Miles because Esme wanted to be with Miles and was blackballing Miles and all that. Not blackballing, blackmailing him. Tristan in a coma, during the storyline, the arrival of the Syrian refugees, by Syed and other people. So he coming to terms with her sexuality. I might say no to that. Honestly, I'm going to say no to that being number 3. Unless, well, Miles impregnating Lola was number 2 because it was groundbreaking because Lola was shown walking to the place where they were going to perform the abortion. And that was groundbreaking in a sense for Degrassi. Anyway, so yeah, that was the backup. That was number 2 to Miles' year-long depression. So yeah. All right. So finally, the last season, we had the finale, the penultimate finale, dealing with stuff. Esme beating up on Sig, Maya realizing that she should never have Sig at the prom, and she was drama again. But Grace saving Maya from herself, basically saying, "Take things one step at a time. You'll be fine." And then, of course, Esme decides to get Sig a motorcycle so that Esme can stay with Sig, and finds out that Sig doesn't want to be with Esme, and Esme's mad. And then Maya telling Sig that she had to tell the guidance counselor about Esme because, in a sense, she wanted Esme to be fine. And I think it was more of a thank you to Esme for saving her life in the previous season. And of course, the finale had something to do with the number 1 storyline that made it through the year. I completely fucked up. I'll be honest with you, because I completely screwed up about the whole Hunter Yale non-binary storyline. I completely goofed not putting that in. Maya being guilty over inviting Sig to prom, I should have knocked that out, and it should have been Hunter's relationship with Yale. I think I'll probably. Well, I don't know about this whole non-binary thing. It's kind of awkward in a sense, and I think I do a terrible job describing that. Esme's polymorphous relationship with Siki Frankie kind of related to the prom, but you know, it was weird seeing Esme, Siki, and Frankie in a relationship, in a 3-way relationship. Lola and Maya being guilty over fighting Siki to prom. I should have cut that for Hunter with Yale. I think Hunter and Yale would probably have fallen outside the top 3, which would have been bad. Anyway, Lola and Syed, because Lola liked him, and Syed said that he was going to move to Montreal after people thought he phoned in a bomb threat during the prom. But no. But Lola convinces him to stay in a sense. And then, of course, Zoe being kicked out of her house because of sexuality, lack of acting gigs. Because at first, I figured said Zoe was kicked out because of, to her mother, because her mother basically was Catholic, and the Catholics don't really do well with people in the LGBTQ2+ community. But then again, a lot of people said that it might be due to the fact that Zoe wasn't getting acting gigs because people were being stupid to her Zoe for being gay. And basically, Zoe's mom, rode her daughter like a cash cow. Basically, once Zoe stopped getting gigs and all that, she married someone for his money, someone else for his money. And of course, Zoe's mom refusing to go to prom, to the graduation to see her daughter, the valedictorian, making her speech, and then sending Zoe's dad to get documents towards her and a letter. Zoe doesn't read the letter. She basically burns it, saying that she doesn't need her mom. So basically, that's all 18 seasons and the voting count because I know you want to know how the votes were. So now I'll show you the randomization of the next three storyline polls.